We are wrapping up that full moon energy in Sidereal Leo. We are still moving through Aquarius season. My friend, we have some easing up maybe energy coming in this week. If you are new here, welcome. Danny Simoni's spiritual healer, intuitive astrology, keeping it real with sidereal astrology, helping you heal your past, present, and future. My friend, we are exploring life beyond the matrix after awakening and becoming conscious, let's just say. All right, so we just had our full moon, as I said, over the weekend. So we are kicking this week off, just ending that energy. And we're going to be moving into our waning quarter moon this week. So let's get started with this week's sidereal astrology forecast for the week of February 26th through March 3rd. My friends, can you believe we're in March? It's coming up. All right. So we do have the really beautiful leap year, right? We're in leap year this year. So we have the 29th, which is happening this Thursday. So as we can see here, our sun is still in the energy of Aquarius. Yes, we are still in Aquarius season. We're at 13 degrees here as we begin our week. And we do have the sun connecting with a couple of guys, right? Hanging out here with, we can see making a sextile here to Jupiter, and we've got Mercury and Saturn kind of all hanging out together. So let's talk about what that is and how that is affecting you. And this started to really come into play last week. We started talking about this, and then we had that sextile come into Jupiter on the 23rd. So this energy they've been like kind of coming together, right? We have that Mercury and the sun, and now they're all kind of coming over to hang out with Saturn. So remember, the sun conjunct Saturn, this really gives us that time and energy to evaluate the boundaries, evaluate the limitations, evaluate the hard work, the discipline. And Saturn here is giving us the patience and the dedication, right? The discipline to get things done. So this is a really good period, as we've been saying, right? To really hone in and get things done, get things in order, kind of feeling like maybe I'm all over the place and I need to get some focus. I need to get some direction. That is definitely this energy here, especially with that sun energy in Aquarius. So with the Mercury though, right? Because Mercury here is now at 4 degrees separation from, or it's a 4 degree orb from Saturn. And so when we see that, like those energies are coming together. So your thoughts may get a little bit um, more Debbie Downer. Let's just use that term, Debbie Downer. You could be looking at more of the limitations. There could be a little bit more isolation and coldness. You might even be feeling like you're just wanting to hibernate. You're wanting to step back. You're not wanting to necessarily be seen or heard for that matter. You're just wanting to either kind of maybe like shelter in place, right? You just want to take things back. And yet, there are some of us, right, that are like, okay, this is like, let's just get to work. Let's get down and do it. Let's do this. So I want you to know that, there's different ways depending on what is going in our life and where we're at on our journeys. There could be some challenges we might be facing, and it's like, okay, right? Like let me put my big girl panties on and let's do this, right? Or it could be the opposite, and it's like there's so much going on that I can't take this, right? I'm struggling here, and I need this all to just stop, right? So I want you to know that like both are right and both are okay, right? And so because of that, there's things that I'm going to recommend, like get some help, get some guidance, get some support. Get out in the sun if you can. If you live in an area where it's not freezing. I'm blessed. I live in Central Texas. We're having 88 degrees. There's a nice cool breeze, so it's not that bad. So it's a beautiful day. I'm planning on getting outside, hopefully today. That is the goal. But if you are struggling in any way, get outside and get some sunshine. Get out and put your feet on some grass, on the ground, earth, right? Do some earthing. Another thing that, one of my clients asked me the other day, she's like, Danny, I've been grounding, I've been clearing my energy. And I'm like, keep clearing the energy, do it more, double it, right? Triple it. But then one thing that I don't often share, and I think we need to hear, and it's interesting that every month and every Monday inside the Enlightened Soul Circles, if you have not joined that group, it is co-run by myself and the beautiful and amazing Sandra V. Montour, another Akashic Records healer, Violet Flame healer, and just beautiful, amazing soul. We co-run this group over on that platform called Facebook. We are on there, and we have different things that we do out throughout the month. And one of the things that we do is every Monday I come on live and do what's called a Magic Monday with Danny. And that is an opportunity for us to just kind of set our tone for the week, to tune into our bodies and receive a divine message. So I usually do an oracle card pull of some sort. And today's message that I pulled was all about detoxing from social media. And, when I looked at that, and one of the guidance that I got as I was sharing, right, to detox from social media, that it actually is to detox in general. We do January, everybody's really good at doing a detox, right? Maybe it's dry January, or maybe it's you're doing a cleanse, right? And so there's a lot of detox energy that happens in January, and then we kind of just hit the ground running again in February. And so this is an opportunity to remind yourself to start to detox. And I don't just mean from a food or drink type area, but detoxing from social media, detoxing from technology, detoxing from the collective. And so one of the things that I recommended is unplugging from the collective consciousness, unplugging, like taking that time to just disconnect, because we don't need to be connected to everything and everybody all the time, especially right now with all of this energy that we're experiencing. As I said, some of us are having some difficult times and some challenging times, and there's things that are happening that are beyond our control. And so what do we need to do? Right? We're coming back here and we're just trying to keep ourselves together, and that is absolutely okay. And so by doing that, unplug from the collective, my friend. Give yourself, even if it's just an hour, even if it's just a little bit of your day. Maybe you do it a little bit, like you get off of the phone, the social medias, and connect it to everything. Maybe just an hour earlier than you normally do, or an hour later than you normally do, or maybe during your lunch you just don't do that, right? You just disconnect. I've been doing that this past week, where my lunch break, I don't even have my phone with me. I leave my phone on my desk. I grab my iPad because my iPad has all my Kindle books. And so I open, I eat lunch in quiet by myself, and then I'll grab my iPad, I'll open up my Kindle book, and I will read for at least 20 to 30 minutes, as much time as I have to sit there and take some time to just unplug from all that is going around. And then if needed, I will do some breath work or a quick meditation as well. So if you can, my friend, unplug this week. I'd highly recommend it, especially if you are, being challenged with some of the things that we do get challenged with on this thing called life, during this thing called life, in this thing called life. All right, so that is the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn energy. You can also see we've got up here, we've got Mars, Venus, and Pluto. Now, Mars and Venus have been pulling away from Pluto. They are completely moved away from Pluto. They are still conjunct. So remember, Mars and Venus energy they've been playing together, and they're going to be playing together for a bit longer. But this is that more charisma energy, socializing, wanting to hang out, be around friends. Again, remember I said some of us are like, yes, let's go and do this. And some of us are noticing the limitations and the boundaries that we have based on our situations. And so I want to remind you that, if you're not feeling like socializing, but you're like, Danny, you're telling me like I should be feeling like socializing. No. I'm saying there is this energy around that maybe we want to be socializing, right? And maybe we don't. And both are absolutely fine. But the one thing this energy does do is it makes those routines and those things that are generally harder for us to work on or get motivated to do a little bit easier. So this is we really enjoy this this Mars and Venus conjunction here for sure. Okay, so we do have a couple of things that I want to point out that well, one thing in particular that is coming up this week that I want to point out with Mars, and that is Mars and Uranus. And so we have had this square to Jupiter, which I talked about, and that will be ending next week. But we have this other aspect that's coming into play here on the 1st with Uranus. We can see this pops in right here on the 1st with Uranus. And as a matter of fact, there is a March forecast coming out on Thursday, the 29th. It'll be on the podcast and here on the YouTube channel. Yes, that is right. If you are catching this on YouTube and you're like, wait, there's a podcast? Yes, there is a podcast called The Cosmic Mystic Podcast. Maybe one of these days I'll get all those names in sync. But for now, the podcast is called The Cosmic Mystic Podcast. You can get it on all your favorite platforms. You can even listen to it right here on YouTube. So if you just want to listen, you can catch it on the podcast. If you're catching this on the podcast and you're like, wait, there's a YouTube channel. Yes, it's Keeping It Real with Sidereal. And you can see the actual charts that I'm showing here for each forecast. And in that particular video, I do go through all of the, you'll see all the charts for March and all the transits that are happening. So I did talk about this in that video, which is why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because we are going to have a couple of things going on with Uranus coming up this month. And so first off, we see this Mars and Uranus square. And so this is going to move into position here on the 1st, and it'll be there through the 17th. So pretty much about halfway through March. And this is really big rebellion energy. So, Mars being our planet of will, of determination, motivation, and Uranus being our rebellion energy, it's all just kind of coming together and wanting to explode, let's just say. And so there is a tendency here to act a little bit more rashly, not really caring about what is going on. We can also use this energy to find more innovation and creativity in our personal life or in our business. If there's something that's kind of been blocking you, this is a really great time for that to kind of come out for you to see. It's really like, it can be a little erratic, so I am going to say that. And you might be feeling like things are a little crazy out there in the streets. But I'm going to advise you to kind of avoid some impulsive actions, avoid taking some risks. Just, kind of go easy. Just pay attention. Take a little bit more time if you're like getting on the road or if you're working on something. Just give yourself a little bit more time, especially if you're traveling. Give it some time. Let's just say that. Give it some extra time. Prepare yourselves for, maybe if something could, happen, just prepare yourself. I'm just going to leave it at that. The last thing I'm going to say, though, is leave yourself open for the innovation and the creativity, because that is something that Uranus is really, really beautiful at, is that motivation, is that innovation and creativeness. And so we can see things outside of our current box, right? Outside of our current comfort zone. And so you allow, right, those insights to come to you. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here is let's talk about Mercury before we start talking about our moon. Now, we did say Mercury was over here with the sun, but Mercury has also been making that sextile right over to Jupiter. And we also have Mercury making that, it also will be, it does have the Uranus energy as well, but it is falling off. So we're not gonna worry about that too much. There we go. It comes here on the 2nd, and then we'll see that for a little bit here as the sun and Mercury kind of split apart. We'll see it come into the Neptune energy. So we have it there till the 7th. So it's about 5 days that we'll see this Mercury sextile Uranus. And so this is kind of stirring some things up for us, changing maybe our daily routines, the people that we're meeting. We might meet some new people, or there might be introduced to some new things. Heightened senses and very future oriented thinking. So this is a good time if you're like trying to figure out, what are some things I can be doing later this year, or what are some new ways that I can be doing things. This period right here where we have the Mars and Uranus square, and we have this Mercury with Uranus sextile, a really good time to allow yourself to step into the possibility and step into the ideas of what the future can hold for you, right? I often, I sit here as Danny here, but often allow myself to accept, to allow for future Danny, right? To be able to navigate maybe what I'm dealing with currently. So like I will do an exercise where I will connect with future Danny and have future Danny tell me what I need to know today, what I need to know right now for whatever decisions I'm making, or for what my next steps might be. And it's kind of that energy of like allowing yourself to receive those future insights that may be on the best path for you. And sometimes that does mean taking a different route, maybe not necessarily changing the goal, although that can happen, but still staying on that same route, but maybe staying on the same goal, meaning I know that I'm going to get to New York, right? How I get there is where that might change. And so just keep that in mind. Now, the last thing I want to say before we start talking about our moon is Mercury is going to be going retrograde this next month. So in April, we'll see Mercury go retrograde. I believe it's on the 2nd. And so we will, though, however, be moving into the shadow period just about 2 weeks before. So we're going to see it come in just around the 9th or 10th of March. And so I say this because the shadow period is a very important time for us to be aware and stay present to what is coming up, because those are definitely signs and clues as to what we may be experiencing during the retrograde period. So starting, and I'll remind you, but starting around the 9th or 10th, you'll start just paying attention to what's coming forward for you. And just know that April, we are going to have Mercury in retrograde. Yes, he's going back into the microwave. So just pay attention to what may be coming up, and any plans or any travel plans that you have during that time, any legal agreements, contracts, just, time to be a little bit more diligent about our efforts. Okay, the last and final thing is let's take a look at where our moon is going to be this week. Our moon, let's go back to the 26th here. Okay, we begin this week with this isn't right. I was like, wait, hold up. It hasn't moved. We begin this week with our moon in Virgo. So we moved out of the Leo energy, and we are here with Virgo energy, making that opposition to Neptune. So there could be, did I just not share my screen? I just realized I did not share my screen. Oh, there you go. See, this is filmed live, not edited. Okay. You can see, here we go. Now what I'm talking about, Moon in Virgo, making this opposition here to Neptune. And so when we have this energy, two things can tend to happen. We can not see all the details very clearly, make some little mistakes. It can also make things a little bit confusing for us, just not quite seeing things clearly. Let's just put it that way. So we start here and we'll see Moon in with Virgo for Tuesday, and then we'll move out of it on Wednesday into Libra. Libra is an air sign, so because we are in Aquarius air and Libra air, I am going to say that it's probably going to be a lot of thoughts and thinking that day. It might feel like you're all over the place. You can't stay focused. There's just moving. There's a lot of movement, especially more difficult for my fellow water and earth energies. We definitely can struggle a little bit more with this energy. Fire and air, you're probably like, yep, this is pretty good. So we have that happening on Wednesday through Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll still be in this energy for the first part of the day, but then we will move into Scorpio. Before I go into Scorpio, let me just say during that Libra season, or not Libra season, Libra time, those 3 days there, it is a really good time as a business owner, as a leader, to kind of finish up, wrap things up. We are in the energy, the moon this week, moving from full moon into that waning quarter, is about wrapping up the details. It's finalizing the projects. It's putting the final things in action, or completing the final actions for the project for this particular cycle. So keep that in mind, that those few days are really great days to kind of wrap things up. The other thing because I did say, right, during air energy, there's lots of thoughts. So it's really good time for research and for just allowing new ideas to come through. So with that Mars and Uranus energy and that Mercury and Uranus energy, there may be some really beautiful ideas that come through this week, especially during that period with Libra. We also are seeking harmony and balance during that time period. So you may even find yourself wanting to find more balance during that time. And then we move into Scorpio here over the weekend. As I said, later half of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will be in Scorpio, which is the water element. And so there's much more emotional energy here, wanting to dive deeper under the surface to investigate in that way. Really great time for healing work, working to get below the surface. Shadow work is really good during this time. It's one of my favorite times to do shadow work, is when the moon is in Scorpio. And then we kick off next week with our moon in Sagittarius. So, my friend, that has been our Sidereal Astrology Forecast for the week of February 26th through March 3rd. I hope you enjoyed this and got some good things to take away from this forecast. I'd love to hear either down below in the comments, if you're here on YouTube. If you are on the podcast, come on over to Cosmic Mystic Podcast and let me know what you are looking forward to this week. I'd love to hear. And as always, my friend, remember to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in. And find peace.